Morning guys, happy Thursday. I hope everyone is doing well. Before we get into the video, understand that anything I talk about on this channel or inside, anything that I do is for educational and informational purposes only. I'm not a financial advisor and nothing shared in my videos should be considered financial investment or trading advice. Trading and investing involves risk, and you should always conduct your own research before making any financial decisions. Any past performances discussed does not guarantee future results. As always, you are responsible for your own financial decisions. Now that's out the way, let's jump into the charts. Having a quick look at Forex Factory and seeing what's going on from a fundamental standpoint. Of course, yesterday we have obviously quite a lot of red folder news, as you guys can see. Going into today, though, which is the 16th of July, we've got nothing in regards to red folder news for the rest of today and also for Friday as well. Of course, we had CPI on Tuesday. So yeah, pretty much nothing for the rest of the week apart from obviously today we had Great British Pound news at 8 a.m. So with that out of the way, let's have a look at what is going on. So as you guys can pretty much see, these black lines are our daily structure. So we obviously have our daily higher high and our daily higher low. Now we've obviously melted off pretty much from Tuesday, yesterday, and then going into today. Obviously lower into the demand areas that we're currently looking at. If you look, we have this daily demand area. So we're very close to this. I actually am going to mark this out so we can keep an eye on. So we're getting closer and closer to, of course, that daily demand area. And then inside that daily demand, we obviously have these 4 hour demand areas as well. This 4 hour demand. Oh, there we go. There's 4 hour demand area inside of that as well. So, we're going to be seeing how market reacts when we get into here. But as for now, where can we potentially look for the next idea? But one thing you can obviously notice is, yesterday, well, focus on today actually. Focus on the other day actually. We obviously had this market pull back into this supply, obviously have a little break. And then I was expecting, yesterday, or Tuesday yesterday to markets come into this supply and then get that movement away. But we haven't had that. So we've had a little pullback and then market dump off again. So ideally what I'm waiting for now is seeing if market's going to come into this supply area and carry on downwards. That is the number one supply area that I'm keeping my eye on. Now, of course, if market punches above these highs and comes into one of this supply and or this imbalance and does this, then yeah, that is completely valid. But from my perspective, I think we could see market shift from this 4 hour supply area in which you guys can pretty much see. So that is what I'm keeping an eye on today. We still have a lot of imbalance to fill, as you guys can probably see below this to obviously where market is coming. That is quite a lot of imbalance here as well. It was mark this out as a different color. So yeah, every reason for market to come lower. We have the daily demand, 4 hour demand, and imbalance. So that is what I'm expecting for today. Now going into Euro USD. Euro USD, you can see we have this 4 hour supply. We also had this daily supply around this area as well. I can quickly show you. Wasn't my favorite supply area, as I said. Ideally, I would like to see market come into this this daily supply area that we have above. But again, we haven't gone anywhere near that. We have an imbalance below this supply area as well. So, from a daily, I'm trying to think, are we going to naturally retrace more into this supply? Again, obviously, that just depends on what the dollar is doing. That would mean that dollar would need to come even more lower, pretty much. So, yeah, let's see what happens in regards to that. Looking at the 4 hour, what can we currently see? Well, it's been ugly from EU. It's been extremely ugly in regards to this extreme consolidation. Even though these demand areas, played out, it has been ugly. Yesterday, this just missed this demand area. You can see market pull back. Didn't tap into that this demand area that I had here, and then obviously moved away again. So yeah, pretty much same scenario, rinse and repeat. I'm looking to see we have a lot of imbalance. I'm looking to see if market can basically come into this demand and then give us a shift away from there. So ideally, that's what I'm going to keep an eye on for Euro USD. Now, Great British Pound, US dollar, let's see what she's doing. Of course, if you look at it from a daily, we've pretty much reached into this daily supply area now. We're filled in that imbalance that we had left above this previous daily supply. And yeah, it's been obviously extremely bullish. So we're in this and we're having a slow reaction from there. Of course, looking at this scenario, we do have a new demand area on the daily as well. So this could be the next area of demand which carries on long. But at this moment in time, let's focus on what is going on. If we look at the four, you guys will be able to notice that of course the 4 hour is extremely bullish and it has been. So as you can currently see from this demand area which I talked about on Monday, it's been a beautiful, beautiful idea. Even if you would have, for instance, took the 4 hour, the highs of the four. Stop loss below the low, bit of a bigger stop, let's say 37. This is done well over a 1 to 5. Again, and obviously if you had a refiner entry, it could have been a amazing, amazing trade idea for you guys to take. Now, looking at the 4 hour, I pretty much would just like to see us come into around this 4 hour demand area. Of course, coming into this 4 hour demand area and then making this decision from there. So pretty simple. If market can continue to retrace and then seeing if this is going to give us that next leg, up. But again, we're not there quite at this moment in time. And if, for instance, we carry on bullish from here, some of you guys potentially could look for the shorts because we have reacted out of that 4 hour, that daily supply area. Again, that will be more of a lower time frame trade to try and obviously capitalize on the internal structure, of course. So it's definitely something to keep an eye on to see if we can catch a shorts into that demand area for GBP NZUSD, again, a little bit different to be fair. Obviously, it's been extremely trendy. We're still in that daily supply, but at this moment in time, with the volume that's come in, am I expecting it to stay? Well, no, not really, but we'll have to wait and see. Looking at the four, we are extremely bullish. You guys can probably notice how bullish we have been with NZUSD. This here for me is more 1 hour trend. So we're going down to the one. You can probably identify a little bit more, the 1 hour demand areas that have obviously been sticking. You can see from here where market had the bullishness come back into that demand, played off again. Where did it then come into this area of demand? Rinse and repeat. You can see we had this bullishness come back into here. Gone again. We have this demand, which we didn't tap into, but market obviously came into this area of 1 hour demand. So it's been more of a 1 hour, structure at this moment in time, which is obviously had market play out. If we was to carry on bullish, my favorable area would be from here as our next 1 hour demand area. So, if we was to carry on with the bullishness, I just expect a dip into there, take out these lows, take out any early buyers, fill in this imbalance, and then obviously carry on. So, I'll keep my eye out on that for NZUSD. If I just quickly go back to the four, yeah, that's all I'm interested in with NZUSD. Oh, pardon me. Yeah. So. And let's focus on this daily supply. So if you look at the daily on AU, you can see that we've reacted out this daily demand and we've also reached this daily supply. Of course, you can see that we have been extremely shorting. So it'll be interesting to see if this is going to be the next area to carry on short. Just follow suit here, pullback, obviously expansion, pullback, expansion. But this is a little bit different because we've reacted out of this for this daily demand. So if we do get a shorting scenario from here, I'd be interested to see if eventually we come back into this daily demand. and then carry on bullish from there. If we jump into the four, let's see what this is saying. Um, of course, we're in this area. For me personally, obviously this is one internal structure, 1 hour. From a 4 hour perspective, I would, like us to retrace into this, into this lower half. Here, we are nowhere near that at this moment in time. So again, what's happening at this moment in time is 1 hour trend, as you guys can probably see. If we focus from, well, I would have gone from here, which didn't tap. That is, let me just mark this out. Failed to come into this. We then broke higher. Where did we come back into? Well, we've come back into this area of demand here. And now we're getting that bullishness away. So, but interesting to see if we get how we finish on this this candle. If we finish it, a lot more bullishness and we leave a clean imbalance, we could have a new area of demand here to look from. But again, I would need to see this candle finish, extremely, not extremely bullish, but similar to this one here. Needed to finish like this with an imbalance, and then we can obviously look for the longs on AUD USD if it makes sense with obviously the dollar. Going into USD CAD. So very, very close to this daily demand area, as you guys can see. Haven't quite reached into there just yet. We have obviously reacted from this daily supply, which we've been talking about all week. So as of right now, looking at the 4 hour, can I say anything that I like in particular? Well, not really. Of course, we had a beautiful trade from this 4 hour supply. Market's just dumped away from there. We haven't had a retracement just yet. If you look at maybe the 1 hour to see what's happened, no, not for me. So yeah, I don't really like the look of too much. The only thing I can see from the four is we obviously have this area here, in which way is market reacting from right now. And the reason for that is because if you focus on the structure, you'll be able to see that obviously market is dumped away. This is a pullback, and then we had market, move away from there again. So market is now reaching into there, filling in that imbalance, into that supply. Is this now going to be the next area to obviously short from? So obviously that is the area, but again, if we go above, then it could be a different scenario. If we look at the 1 hour, obviously we've reacted from imbalance. For me, it's not enough to obviously look for the longs, from that obviously point of view. So yeah, ideally, I'm just gonna wait with USD CAD to see what happens. I think at this moment in time, unless something happens that completely changes my mind. Um, USD CHF, a little bit different. We had obviously a beautiful reaction, last week from this daily demand, and then coming into this week, obviously we've been extremely bullish, and then obviously Tuesday and Wednesday we've been bearish. So coming into that, we had the bullishness. Then this week's been bearish. We've now just reached into this daily demand, and this is a new daily demand because we had this institutional candle here, bullish, left imbalance, and that's where markets come into. If you look at the four, pretty clear to see obviously that bullishness that we've just been talking about. Let me just mark this out. So we've reached into this 4 hour demand, and the only thing I'll be looking out for now is how we react from this 4 hour supply. So internally on the 1 hour, it could be valid trade ideas to look for this. But then when we reach this 4 hour supply, we just got to keep an eye on the fact of, is this going to carry on, of course, bullish, or is this going to give us a shift now to carry on bearish? Obviously, we will make it, or you will make a decision on that when it happens, when it comes to it. Looking at the 1 hour, you can see the two areas of demand we have. This area of demand here. Let me just move this away. We have this 1 hour demand area here. And then we also have this 1 hour demand area here. So, is market going to obviously shift away from here? And that could be the next trade. Of course, if we go lower, it could be from this area here, using this as liquidity. But either of these zones are what I'm going to be keeping my eye on to see if we can get some sort of bullishness and then into that 4 hour supply and make a decision from there. So hopefully that makes sense in regards to USD CHF. Of course, if we look at this, by the way, inside this 4 hour demand, you can see where markets come into, this 1 hour demand area here. What did we have above that 1 hour demand? We had this imbalance above it here. So pretty clean. USD Japanese yen hasn't really done much. Hasn't really done much. We've obviously still been, trapped between that supply and that demand on the daily. If we go into the 4, you can see that, of course, we reacted from this 4 hour supply. Markets come back into this, reacted again. Then it's had a reaction from this area, 4 hour demand. So, for me personally, I'm going to need to see either, clear bearish reactions or vice versa, clear bullish reactions, um, in order to participate in, USD Japanese yen. If you look at the one, you can obviously try and make a decision, but for me personally, it's just not something that I am interested in. It's extremely consolidating. So yeah, let's see what happens in regards to USD Japanese yen. But that is your daily market outlook for today, guys. I appreciate every single one of you, as always, for tuning into obviously my YouTube. As always, drop a like on the video if you want to drop a comment. If you've got a question, feel free to obviously put it into the comment section. But yeah, if you got any value from this, feel free to show some love because obviously I do this completely for free for you guys. Make sure you got your notifications turned on also, so be notified that I am uploading or have uploaded a video. But other than that, guys, I appreciate every single one of you. Take care and God bless.